Welcome to the Congressional Sound. So today I wanted to dive right in and talk about something that's important to me. I have spent so much time in California. I have interned politically, I have worked, I have been a victim and a success story of the LGBT community and culture that so many have had the luxury and misfortune of experiencing. I currently, right now, am on the Apple Top 100 for a podcast talking about gay segregation in Los Angeles. So today, stemming from that point of view, coming from that side of this divide, I would like to talk about Caitlyn Jenner's run for governor, guys. So Caitlyn Jenner's ad for governor starts with a statement alluding to the fact that she is the American dream. That Caitlyn Jenner's life has been a transgender woman's American dream. She says, what is the dream? And then goes on to talk about career politicians, how the country's locked away and burned down. Can we talk about the career politicians who aided and abetted Donald Trump to a Capitol seizure? Can we talk about the Capitol building, which if you just glance above at the banner, is lit up in rainbows on this page? Because I wish nothing but abundance, love, equality on the career politicians who are able to walk into every new Congress with a fresh start for the American people. The Congress who is able to hold a chamber and speak their minds. So to hear Caitlyn Jenner say that the nation is locked away and burned down, and that they are in the next statement, every part of our lives. From someone who comes from reality television, the reality television that seized our capital, that have been in every part of our lives. Kylie Jenner's on your mouth. Kim Kardashian's in a corset, and then, you know, in your youth, I'm sure you girls remember, in your youth, she was also dressing you at Sears. So when she was dressing your little girls at Sears and then parading around on a red carpet in a corset so tight that the only thing the little girl with the Kim Kardashian Sears dress had in her was to go buy a waist trainer, was she in that part of your life, Caitlyn Jenner? She says she would like to be a disruptor. And in another interview, she says that Donald Trump was a disruptor. What does it mean to be a disruptor in a democracy? For me personally, having experienced, kind of both sides of the aisle in my personal life, a disruptor is someone who is consciously associating themselves with organization, with church, with movement that will withhold the people from being able to access the said career politicians locking away and burning down the country. So when someone calls themselves a democracy disruptor on national television, after having stated a reality television star they've been in your life the entire time, maybe we should take that statement a little more seriously. She goes on to say that she's going to save California. Who does Caitlyn Jenner say she's going to save California for? She says she's going to save California for parents, for businesses and churches who suffered during the pandemic. As a Californian, I firmly can stand in the fact that I know that church built church during the pandemic. Church did not build health. Church did not build vaccine. Church built church. I can give a personal anecdote from a community far away that I'm sure you could associate to any church during a pandemic. They were able to convince the community to come in when they could, that they needed to demand the right to come into the church during a pandemic. They needed their congregation inside to be saved by God from an illness so far away or so close at home, or whoever had given it to us said, whoever said it, the democracy disruptor, the reality television star. When those people got back into their churches, what were they asked to do? Empty their pockets. Those people were asked to empty their pockets, and where did that money go? That money built church. That money built Sister Church. Sister Church is a church down the way that I also fund. So when Sister Church got built during a pandemic, you know money was not spent on the community. You know that the church does not need saved after a pandemic. The church needs help building community center. Can I explain community center to you? Community center is the other church. The church that was not in the news begging their congregation to come inside. The church that went to the medicine. The church that went to the government and got vaccine and opened a community center to vaccinate their communities. That is the church that I hope Caitlyn Jenner had even passed through her mind, because no one spoke in the ad of the church who got the vaccine to the people. Because no one in the church wants to talk about the vaccine to the people. So no, Caitlyn Jenner, we do not believe that you're talking about the churches with the vaccine for the people. I could go on and on about the businesses who were given promises and granted wishes from the past administration, but I don't want to talk about a business during a pandemic when there is no doubt in my mind that the economy is about to fluctuate and is fluctuating at a rate that only the non-tangible goods will be able to live through. So, we on our phones and our computers, with, the only tangible good that business sells, the little device that we're holding, or where else? Maybe the gym with the treadmills, or who else lives the longest untouched because all they're promising is non-tangible goods. So Caitlyn Jenner, what about your non-tangible goods? The reality television you promote, that's a non-tangible good, is it not? Because it streams on how many services that you have a hand in. So you plan on saving business, but have your pockets lined with non-tangible money. She says she's tired of elitists. She says the state of California is made of warriors, kings, angels. Who are these warriors and kings and angels? Because in my world, a warrior is a man speaking for an advocate of his people. A king is someone who stands proudly for his message, for his movement, for his lineage, for his neighborhood, for the streets he grew up on. An angel means so many things. To you, it may mean someone who's nice and pleasant. To someone else, it may mean that they follow a moral code that they believe to make them that angelic being. So Caitlyn Jenner, who is your angel? Is the nice girl who can spit at me in a club? Because I'm pretty sure those are the little girls that we've all watched on television. The nice little things that can tell me how pretty they are and how nice their clothes are. Those little girls who will spit at you with their behind closed door words. Those little girls that run around LA that way. So I'd like to talk next about the parents thing. I did kind of skip over that because Caitlyn Jenner said she likes to talk about the parents and has been talking about how she's a transgender advocate. So, as someone who is currently right now speaking about gay and trans segregation in the state of California on an Apple platform, I would like to open that conversation about someone who would call themselves a transgender advocate, but has for years been dead named, misgendered, out of her pronouns and chosen name by her own children, ex-wife, and family all over national television, on streaming networks nationwide, all over the internet, all over YouTube and Twitter and Facebook. Those little girls ran around calling her Bruce Jenner, he, him. So I'm coming back to this a couple hours later. I actually came to another thought about Caitlyn Jenner addressing the parents of California as A person who participated in the Olympics, an adult man who participated in track and field, who was instrumental in the construction of the track and field culture in California, who now stands a transgender woman running for governor. Will she be held accountable for the laws written in this country holding high school children at Olympian standards? There are transgender track and field athletes who are little girls being held to the same standard that Bruce Jenner won gold medals on. So, will Bruce Jenner be the parent of transgender children in sports? Undoubtedly not. Caitlyn Jenner was not a track and field transgender athlete. Caitlyn Jenner is not held up for ridicule for wanting to bodybuild or run track as a transgender woman. Because no one wants to talk about the transgender little girls who want to play basketball or soccer. No one wants to talk about the transgender little girls who want to go swimming. Everyone wants to talk about the transgender little girls who run track. So if Bruce Jenner wants to stand up Caitlyn Jenner today, the governor of California, and talk about how she's an advocate for the parents and churches and businesses, she needs to stand up the advocate of a transgender athlete. An advocate. An advocate is a woman who has built herself on fighting for the rights of young transgender athletes. Where? It's not there. There's no proof. Show me the receipts that Caitlyn Jenner is a transgender athlete's advocate. So a transgender advocate who believed like Bruce Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner, would step down, step aside, be silent for a transgender advocate to stand up. Because I myself, someone who advocates for transgender people, would never be caught dead misgendering, dead naming my family, my friends, my community. I will not accept an apology from the Jenner family for misgendering, calling someone out of their pronouns, using their dead name on television. The only apology I will accept from the Jenners for misgendering, dead naming, and calling people out of their pronouns is to step down from that position and put it away. That is the apology we would accept. Caitlyn Jenner has a beautiful little symbol for us in her governor's ad. It is a black eagle, and if you know what it means, it's a symbol from the Roman Empire. So whatever it may mean to you, I'm gonna interpret it from my own viewpoint. So in the Senate in the Roman Empire, they had roles for people where they would be elected a senator, but their role was more of a placeholder. The placeholder role was given to the individual who would soundly sit in Senate and wait for a senator to arrive to complete the mission of the previous or the consensus of the Senate. So giving a more authoritative view to the idea of a Senate in a democracy. So bringing that back to a public pronunciation of oneself, a transgender, dead named, he, him, nationally televised placeholder for a democracy disruptor. We can try again for the woman who is saying that she would like to open the Golden Gates because all I smell is McDonald's at the White House. Thank you so much for voting. If you're watching from California, please get out to vote. You can follow me at youtube.com/almostgone, man at work, everywhere else. man at work, my last name, everywhere else on the internet. Secretism on my Clubhouse. Catch me in the hallways.